Have you ever thought someone was following you and wondered what you should do? Should you confront them? Should you run? Should you call the cops? What should you do? I have had times, yes it is true, where I have been made or burned on a surveillance case, and nothing is worse than getting burned and having your subject flip the table and start following you. Let me give you a quick example of this and what I did, and then we will discuss what you can do if you think someone is following you, or worse, if you think someone is stalking you. I recently read that 15% of women and 6% of men have experienced stalking. Those numbers were shocking to me when I read that. And the fact about those numbers is that those are the percentages of people who experienced stalking. And some other staggering numbers include the fact that 80% of stalkers are people who know the subject they are stalking. It is often someone they were or are in a relationship, or an acquaintance, or even a family member. And less than 25% of stalkers fall into the strangers category, where they simply do not know the individual they are stalking. I remember one case where I got burned when I arrived at the residence. It was a workers' comp case, which appeared routine when I received it. As I went through the case notes, I noticed something that seemed odd, but I was a newer surveillance investigator, so I didn't pay much attention to this one detail. One thing I know that is not odd is the need for a PI to have private investigators insurance, and I highly suggest you check out this video's sponsor for more details. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. I pulled up to the residence at dark 30 just like any normal case. I was all prepared. I had my cameras all charged and ready to go. I had conducted a spot check a few days prior and located some sweet spots to do surveillance. I rolled into the neighborhood, went past the subject residence, observed the subject's vehicle present and parked on the street directly in front of the residence, and there were no lights on inside the house. This seemed to be a perfect setup. Very routine, everything normal, nothing to worry about, right? I got into my surveillance position, got all hunkered down and ready for the day, and I sat there and I waited. And then I waited, and then I waited some more. Nothing, nada. I never saw my subject the entire day. The only activity I saw at the subject residence was the subject's wife taking the kids to school, and occasionally a dog being led outside and back inside the front door from an unknown subject. Now, I couldn't see who was opening the door for the dog, but one time it happened when the wife and the kids were gone, so a good assumption was that it was my subject, so I was good to go for the full day. After my 8-hour surveillance shift, I packed up my equipment, I hopped back into the front seat, and away I went without a worry in the world. I decided to stop at a convenience store really quick and grab a soda and a snack, as I had a very long drive home. As I walked out of that convenience store, lo and behold, there was my subject's vehicle driving right past. I was like, wow, that is weird, so I followed it for a short distance just to see, but I never saw who was in the vehicle. They just drove slowly down the street a few blocks, took a quick right-hand turn, then another, then went back towards the subject residence, then went directly to the residence and parked inside the garage. I know in hindsight, as I say it out loud, it was like, duh, they were probably checking me out. But again, I was new at the surveillance thing, and I just chalked it up to coincidence. There were plenty of places they could have gone between their residence and the store I was at. The very next day, I head back out, and there is the subject's vehicle again sitting on the street. This told me that they probably went somewhere else, since I saw them park in the garage the day before. Yeah, I know, another huge red flag there. First, the subject vehicle's on the street, then parked in the garage, then back on the street. Most people are creatures of habit and usually park in the same spot day in and day out. I got all set up and I saw the wife taking the kids to school again, but this time they drove right past me. I just thought, well, maybe they went another route today, no problem. Then the wife returned. She parked across the street from the residence, facing directly toward me in my surveillance vehicle. And then she just sat there. Now I am in the back seat. I have blackouts in my side windows and a curtain behind me, and I know there is no way anyone can see me inside my car, but man, this was very awkward nonetheless. Then I see the garage door open. She gets out of the car, grabs something out of the truck, and walks into the garage. Then the garage door closes. Okay, all is well, right? This all makes sense now. She is probably parked there so she can get the kids later. Nothing to worry about, right? I sat there for the remainder of the day and saw nothing, except on occasion someone letting the dog outside and back inside from the front door. As my 8-hour shift comes to a close, I get my final time shot for the day, pack everything up, hop back into the front seat, and head out. I was quite relieved it was over. I was a bit bummed I never got video of my subject, but I was happy to close this one out. I stopped at the same convenience store, got a soda and a snack, and headed out of town for my long ride home. Then I noticed a vehicle behind me, and it appeared to be my subject's vehicle. I was like, no way, it must be someone else, but it was coming up quickly behind me, so I slowed down. I gave them room to pass, but they never passed me. Then I see it is a male driver with his phone up like he is recording video or taking pictures of me. Now I am panicked a bit. Is he following me? Was it just another coincidence? Should I speed up, slow down, pull over? What should I do? I decided just to keep going. I set my cruise control for a few miles under the speed limit and just kept looking straight forward. As I approached the little town, I pulled off on a residential street and went down a few blocks, then took a left and went down a few blocks, then took another left, and as I approached the highway, I saw the subject rounding the corner behind me. I knew then I was under surveillance. The subject was now conducting counter surveillance, and man, I'll tell you what, that is the worst feeling in the world. My stomach started aching. I got chills all over, and I knew I had to come up with a plan. It was a simple plan. I just got back on the highway and continued my journey home. After I had gotten down the road a few more miles, he pulled over and then flipped a U. When I got back to the town where I live, I did some serious anti-surveillance maneuvers, driving around town, going into several different stores and watching everywhere, everything, everyone. I did not want him following me to my house. I learned after that to always conduct an SDR after every surveillance before I head home and before I get home. SDR stands for Surveillance Detection Route. This is where you do those types of maneuvers like going around the block and seeing if someone is following you. Luckily, I have never had anyone follow me home, but I still do this. Here are some quick tips on running an SDR that I use occasionally. I never do the same one back to back just in case someone is following. Turning down a side street, going a few blocks, then turning again and going a few blocks, then turning again is a good maneuver to start with. Using this method, even if someone is following you, they may get suspicious that you are suspicious and pull off or back off. I might also do this and pull into a random driveway, then back out and return the way I came. This works well with an alley too. Then I can see if the suspicious vehicle is there, and hopefully I can get a license plate and a visual of who is in the vehicle. You can use this also with dead-end streets and streets with a cul-de-sac. It puts the suspicious person's vehicle at a choke point. Going into any retail store is a good option as well. I just park, then I can get a good look around me when I exit my vehicle and as I walk into the store. Then after I get in the store, I can walk in a short distance, turn around, and watch out the window as I sit there acting as if I'm on a phone call. Another one I use is just pull over or pull into a parking lot and just sit there. Yeah, just patiently sit there and watch for the suspicious car or person. Grabbing some fast food in a drive-up is a good maneuver too. I drive for a few minutes and I go back, but I park outside and walk inside. I then can take a good look at everything around me and assess the situation. So what do you do if you have completed multiple SDRs and you know you're being followed? The best solution oftentimes is to call the police, especially if you feel threatened in any way. If you know where a local police station or precinct is, you can just drive there and go inside. Just going to a police department will make most stalkers leave right then and there. The big takeaway for you surveillance investigators out there is to pay attention to every detail, every action, and if for any reason you think you are made or burned, it is always best to pull off rather than push it. Remember when I said as I went through the case notes, I noticed something that seemed odd, but because I was a newer surveillance investigator, I didn't pay much attention to it? Well, that one odd thing was the multiple ID shots the client, the insurance company, provided to me. These were not pictures from a driver's license or social media. These looked like surveillance photos. They had date timestamps, and each one had a different date and timestamp format. This should have clued me in that this subject had been surveilled multiple times and most likely by multiple surveillance investigators. And had I known that, I would have handled the situation entirely differently. You see, the subject had been surveilled by 2 other PIs, and the subject had seen the reports from those surveillances. And after that, well, he was highly suspicious of everything. Now, come here. If you want to hear some more secrets to help you while conducting surveillance, then check out this video.